Welcome back to Innovation NEO, where we're looking at innovators in the region and understand what drives them, what makes things tick for them, how they deal with obstacles, and how they really make this region what it could be. I'm here with Christopher Celeste, the CEO and founder. I keep on saying CEO. Everybody uses different names. I don't know. Whatever. You're really president.
We have one of the partners at Findaway.
One of the partners. Okay. One of the partners in Findaway World. Playaway is your product. And, you know, a lot of people talk about product, and you've been talking about this notion of, you know, a book that plays itself, or content that plays itself. But I want to go further than that. What, you know, you have some stories about where these playaways are being utilized. Can you tell us some stories about that?
Absolutely. When we launched this product, obviously, it's an audio book, so the natural tendency is to think you sell books at booksellers. And so we began our business in the retail space, looking at players like Barnes & Noble and Borders and Amazon. And we built great relationships and put them in 100 different bookstores, airports around the country. And what we realized is the value proposition to a retail buyer was good, but not great. Our business in that space was growing, but only growing a certain way. In listening to what else was happening with the market, sometimes what happens is you put a product out in the market and somebody starts using it for something you never imagined. And if you're so focused on your idea that you don't hear that, you miss an opportunity. We were lucky that we had some very evangelist like early customers who were librarians, and they said, we love this product because it's a book all in one package, easy to circulate out. It's great for our patrons who tend to be technophobes, not technophiles. It's more durable than a box of CDs going out the door as an audiobook loan. So we started having libraries buy the product. And as we shifted our focus from retail to libraries, we discovered, lo and behold, better economic model, higher value proposition for our product, which means we can sell at a premium, a big marketplace that we had completely missed when we were launching it. So today we have this product in 11,000 libraries and school libraries, almost 2,700 titles at the end of this year in that marketplace, where people can, we sell it once to the library, but the library can loan it out 12 or 13 or 14 times in a year, and the patrons love it because they're not paying for it, but they're getting a great experience in this all-in-one container. And then looking at what worked in that library market, right? What worked was sell it once and circulate it many times. We started looking at other applications where that would apply. One of them became the military. We had some folks come to us because the military has a library program itself. And they came to us saying, we think your product would be interesting for soldiers in the field. So almost for a year now, we've been sending kits of audiobooks, direct drop shipped out to stationed troops in Afghanistan and Iraq, who literally can take the product because of its all-in-one, self-playing nature, pop it right out of a box and start listening to it as they're in the field, and easy to pass along. So when they're done with it, they just trade it with another soldier for a different title. And we actually are just at the place where we're signing a big contract with the Department of Defense to be able to give books to troops in all 4 branches of the military. So that was how sort of the migration of books customers went. But we also realized that this format, the basic premise of this product is simple and immediate access to the content. Because it's preloaded and the technology is so simple to use, the whole idea of simple and immediate access to content, where else could that make a difference? We started thinking about the healthcare field, and we're actually looking at programs with the Cleveland Clinic here in town about how do you deliver patient education information, doctor's instructions, even things like guided meditation that are all self-contained to help change the nature of the patient experience. We started talking to corporate interests who were looking at training applications. How do you take an hour worth of training material and put it into a device that somebody can simply and immediately access no matter where they are? They don't have to go to a computer or download. So there are lots of evolution in how the product's being used in the marketplace, which is very exciting for us.
You know, I'm assuming that along the way somebody with some environmental thinking would say to you, so like you're making this thing, it's got one use, and of course you're talking about how it's used over and over again. Of course they would never say, we shouldn't print books anymore because they only have one use. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing to sort of increase the longevity of the product in addition to having it in libraries.
Right. Well, from the very beginning, we built the product so that it was shareable. I mean, one of our desires is that it is so portable, so it's easy to share. So instead of when you're done with it, it going into a trash can, it goes to a friend. The other reality is we built this, and this is one of the differences in our business. In fact, today, these come to us, they come to Cleveland completely empty. We built an entire operation in Solon in which we load, label, pack, and ship Playaways on demand. which means we can take back any Playaway from any customer and reload it, relabel it, repack it, and reship it. So we launched a program called Replay, where any customer who wants can send us back a used Playaway, whether they're an individual user or a library that wants to sort of recreate their books, send them back to us, and on a discounted basis, we will turn your old book into a new book and send it back out to you. So that we encourage sort of the greenness of the product by sharing it, but we also try to recycle that product. And we always say to people, if you have no use for it, send it to us. We'll donate it to a library, we'll donate it to a school, we'll give it to somebody who can keep using it, because it has use, so it should not end up in a trash bin somewhere.
So, of course, you can't do that with books. Can you imagine people giving books, ripping out all the pages and dropping some new ones in? It's a sort of actually has an advantage from an environmental standpoint.
If people use it that way, it does.
So, so you've got you're now working to more, I guess in the business world you might call it private labeling with corporations or. Which actually was interesting because that was where you started with Victoria's Secret, with the first concept.
That's right.
And actually, you didn't go in that direction, but now that seems to be coming back again.
Well, I think we have another story of sort of a brain gain. We just recruited into our business a director of strategic planning who grew up in Cleveland, who went out to California, ironically enough, went to Stanford, and then spent 10 years in Silicon Valley working for Netflix and ultimately Apple. Was sent by Apple to the UK to launch programs and director of marketing in the UK for Apple, and has just come back to Cleveland to join us, and he's the person responsible for looking at all the other custom applications of this format. So again, because we built very consciously, even though we were launching audiobooks, we were building behind it the capability to build on demand in units as small as 1 or as big as 1,000 here in Cleveland. So we can take a product for, if there was an entrepreneur who wanted to put information on a Playaway and they said, I want 500 of those for a conference, or I'd like to take some content I have and put it on and I need 50 of those, we create those programs. In fact, this product right here, this Power Nap, is a Cleveland company that developed this technology where white noise, 20 minutes of white noise, tricks your brain into thinking you've been napping for 3 hours. And they said, we did this on CD, but it's a much better solution in a prepackaged player. And so they came to us and we built a custom product for them, which is a Power Nap on a Playaway. And they sell this both online and in other retail environments. So total opportunity to create lots of custom products.
So any like last minute advice for someone who is either inside a company or just out there saying, I've got this great idea. Any advice to them on, really quick advice saying, do this?
Well, I think, surround yourself with people who tell you yes, not no. Surround yourself with cheerleaders. And if somebody's telling you no, replace them with a cheerleader. And then dare to be brave, because that's what it takes.
Dare to be brave. Innovation is really not for the weak-souled or the weak at heart. It takes a lot of work, entrepreneurship and innovation, which come hand in hand most of the time. Sometimes innovation comes out of more larger companies, but it is about taking great ideas or creating great ideas or starting someplace, but taking a journey to a point where it becomes a great idea and finding some moments during the life of the idea where you just get the sense that it's going to go somewhere. Many people just ignore those kinds of messages.
Yeah, I think it's human nature to believe the worst about ourselves. We are our own worst self-critics. So that when you get that first piece of negative feedback, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That wasn't a really good idea. I should probably stop. And that's when you need people around you. You need a community around you, and you need friends, and you need colleagues who say, no, that's wrong. You have it in you. Any step along this path, I could stop. Just like you could stop as a parent or as a teacher or as anybody in life. This is not about being an entrepreneur. This is about living to your fullest potential. It happens to really matter when you're an entrepreneur because you can't give up and succeed. You have to keep going. But I think it is in that moment, and we all know what that moment is, that moment where you can choose to keep going or to give up. That's the moment where you need to dare to be brave. I think it's a very personal moment for folks.
On that note, I will conclude our conversation with Christopher Celeste. It's been a great education for me. I wish I could actually have it all sitting in one of his Playaway books so I can play it over and over again. It's fascinating, the idea of innovation, tenacity, bravery, and just taking something and going with it and surrounding yourself with really good people. And that's what we need to do in Northeast Ohio, is surround ourselves with good people, work together, and make this truly an innovative hotbed in the future. Thank you very much.